Hey guys, we are going to be making something else to match in my kitchen, which is a little hanging towel. And before we get started on that, I will show you one that has been well loved. As you can see, it's faded. But this is a video that I uploaded where you can just use a towel and a pot holder and put a button on it. So that's one thing that you can do, and they make really cute gifts. But very easy, and it just hangs like on the bar of your oven. But today I wanted one that's going to match my kitchen. I did one, but I'm going to do this one just a little bit different. So I took a towel and I cut it in two, and I made this one, and then we're going to use the other half of the towel to make another one. This one, I used a loop. So basically, I cut out the shape. I put some batting on the inside, quilted it. I hand stitched a button on, and then this will go right around the button, and it'll hang on the stove as well. Today's is going to be similar, but still different, because I like to show you more than one way to do something. This one I'm going to sew the button on with the machine. I've already gone behind my machine and dropped the feed dog so it wouldn't try to pull the button through. Okay, so I have two pieces of material here that are cut and ready to work with. This one has the most on it, so this is going to be the side without the button, because this will fold over to the button, leaving this on the front. Now if you want a button to the front, that's fine too, but it looks better if it's the other way. So this one I'm going to lay aside for just a moment. We're going to be working with the back. And I want to do this before I quilt it. So I do have my button ready. I have my back of the material ready. And then we have the button foot. It's that odd looking little foot that came with your machine. Has a little bar right there. That is what snaps on to the machine. So you just lift the presser foot, line it up. But right here is what holds your feet. It has like a little arch there. So what you want to do is put the foot underneath that little arch and line it up with that little bar on whatever foot you're using. We happen to be using the buttonhole foot, or the button foot, sorry. Once you get that lined up, you can drop that down and it snaps into place. So if you lift your foot, you can see it's on there. Okay, so now we're going to put it on our zigzag stitch, which I've done. And I'm going to decide where the button needs to be. And I think I want it just about here. I'm going to raise it just a little bit so that I still have plenty of my flowers showing on the other side. If I put it down too low, then it would cause this bend to go deeper. I want lots of that showing, so my buttonhole is going to be right about there. Okay? So, now if you have a busy fabric, you wouldn't even have to worry about that. You can just make a decision and put it in. Okay, so I'm going to find the center by just finger pressing, folding in half and finger pressing. And then I'm going to tuck this under and find where I want my button to be. I'm going to slide the button in, line up those two little holes visually just to get as close as you can, and then you're going to manually turn the knob and see if it clears the button holes. It is. Okay, so once I made a couple and I see it didn't shift, everything looks good, I'm going to go ahead now and hit the pedal Okay. Now if you wasn't going to use a button, this is where you would sew together a little loop, and you would put the loop facing down, coming out of the top. Just like I did this one. And now what I'm going to do, before I put the batting in, I'm going to go ahead and sew these together. Okay, I'm just going to sew all the way around, leaving the bottom open. On my machine, you press this little black lever and it releases that foot. So now I can get a regular foot. And we're back here. Reach behind my machine and put the feed dogs back. I'm just cutting off the points there so it turns easier. So literally just turning it. You don't actually have to even quilt this if you don't want to. I just like the way it looks, so I'm going to go ahead and put a little quilting in it. Alright, now I'm going to start by just going all the way around, not the bottom of course. Now I'm going to start up maybe 1/4 to 1/2 inch. Alright, now we're going to take this foot back off and we're going to put on the buttonhole foot. Now I'm going to get an identical button to the one that I just used, or one the same size. It doesn't have to be identical as long as it's the same size. Because we're going to need that to measure the size of the buttonhole. Okay, so I have an identical button. So now what you want to do, you just want to push this up as far as it'll go, slide your button in, and then pull it down. Okay, this also has that same little bar on it to slide under. Whoops. To slide under the machine here. And then line that up and drop it down. And you can see it lifted up the front edge, so it's attached. I've turned off the light so maybe you can see just a little bit better. But tucked up under your machine, there is a little lever, for lack of a better word. You're going to want to pull that down. And then pull it as far down as it'll go, which is just below this little bar on the buttonhole foot. And you're going to tuck it in behind that little plastic piece. Now, based on the button that we have back here, it already knows what size to make the buttonhole. Alright, so now we're going to bring this over and put the real buttonhole in. And now I know that it's going to pull my material backwards. So I'm going to come down just a little, and I'll want to double check my center again. Yeah, I can still see the fold right there. But I can also see it is off just a hair. It's like my first hole on the button is on the fold. So I want to keep that in mind whenever I'm making the buttonhole so it folds over as straight as possible. Okay, so I'm going to bring this down. And I can see my needle is all on to the right. It's zigzagging back and forth, so it's over to the right. I'm keeping that in mind when I'm lining it up here. It also has little notches here on the front that help you to line up. So drop that foot down. Alright. Not sure if you can see it lined up quite nicely there. So let's go ahead and trim these threads. Then I'm going to go into the button hole. I'm going through two thicknesses, so I may have to use scissors, but I'm going to try to just use my seam ripper. Oh no, there it goes. It was just getting through. That was the hardest part. Alright, and I'm going to test it, and then we're going to put just a little bit of quilting on it. See, I really could have put that even farther up. Oh, going to have to trim a little more. And take it slow. Don't force it. Alright, so this is the back side that you're looking at, and this will be the front, so I still have two of my large roses on there. So we're going to put just a little bit of quilting in, not much. Just some straight line quilting, doesn't have to be fancy. But of course, first, you're going to lift that little, you're going to lift this little guy back up where he goes. Push the little button that releases this foot. And pop on another. Now, if this was thicker, I would switch over to a walking foot, but this is very thin, so a regular foot should be fine. But if you're more comfortable, by all means, switch to the walking foot. And then, just like when I was on the edges, I'm starting about anywhere from 1/4 to 1/2 inch up, whatever you're comfortable with. I'm going to drop my needle. Alright, so just some little random lines there to quilt it. There's really no reason to have that much hanging down because your towel is going to be inserted in that area, so it'll be plenty thick enough. Now, on the one that I made previously, you'll see I gathered. And then on the back of it, I had just a little bit folded in. but you don't have to worry about that either. That's just something that I did. But I just wanted to show you that this one shows gathered, and it's going to hang, you know, with your gathers. This time, on the other piece of the towel, we're going to do a couple of other things. Even though this has a pretty little area right here, not sure that the camera will pick it up, but it's just kind of embossed almost. I'm going to do something else there. We have a couple of options. You can just, as you can see, I took a long strip of the material and just folded it in. See, I didn't even worry about if it was straight edges or not because it doesn't matter. I got that ironed, and then you can put it right over it. Or you could always just take ribbon and do the same thing and just sew down each side of the ribbon, and always, you know, tuck into the back so it's a nice clean edge. I am going to go ahead and use this, and what I'm going to want to do is when I tuck it around, I'm also going to want to tuck it under so that that raw edge is hidden. So we're going to do that first. Now we're going to fold this in. We're going to want it to tuck right up inside here. Then I want to tuck this up under, and you can iron it if you'd like. I'm just going to pin or clip. So we're pinned. Looks okay in the back. This is pretty thick. If you don't think your machine can handle it, then you would want to switch over to your walking foot. You could also use one of your decorative stitches on one of my pot holders. I did that with the vines, and it looked really cute. You could do that across here as well. It would be cute with the floral. Alright, so you can see everything got caught on the back. And when this is over the bar at your oven, you just button it right on. And now it's going to match my kitchen. Oops. There we go. I didn't have that exactly straight. There we go. Or, of course, if you don't want to go through all that trouble and make a plain one, and use a loop if you don't want to fool with the buttons and all of that. And I had this kind of button on this one, but you could use either one, of course. You can hand stitch any button on. But I just wanted to show you the couple of different ways, and I'll link to the other one that's very simple where you just use the pot holder and a towel. I hope you guys have a great week. Bye.